Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to look at an expansion for Hexaquest. In this case, it's the Fangirl expansion for Hexaquest. Now, Fangirl for this is going to refer to comics. So this is going to be the comics category for Hexaquest. Now, these little expansions here are standalone expansions, but they can also be used in the base game. Now, if you want to see how all the other categories mesh together really cool, check out our video on the Hexaquest basic game, and you'll see it in here. For this, we're just going to go over the expansion rules. Now, some of the expansions, like Disc Jockey, come with additional things that can be used in the game. This one's just the category and the category tiles. If you're using this as a standalone expansion, you're just going to take the tiles that you got, mix them up, and you're going to make a random little grid here of tiles. All right, and players are going to take turns pulling these tiles out, and if the tile's stuck, you can't pull it out. So how does this all work? Well, on a player's turn, they're going to grab a tile, and they can either get a tile with the number on it or the category, but they won't know the value. Now, when you're playing with multiple categories, this is more effective because you can pick your category, but you won't know the point value, or you can pick a point value, but you don't know the category. So in this case, you do know the category because there's only one in this game. And when you pull it, if it's a 2 here, you're going to read the 2. If you pull one of these, you'll flip it, and so that would be a 3. Then the person to your left is going to read a question. Now, these are all multiple choice questions. So the person to the left's going to enter a question. Let's say we did the 2. And they're going to go in difficulty from easy to really hard. So if we look at this top one, for comics, this one's super easy. Batman lives in blank city, and you have multiple choice. There's going to be Arkham, Gotham, Star, or Coast. So A, B, C, or D. Then you can look down here and see that yes, in fact, he does live in Gotham City. And if the person gets that right, they'll be able to keep their tile. So it would have had to have been this one tile. And then they can keep going up to 3 times. But if they bust on any of these 3, they lose all those 3 or 2 or whatever. They get to keep any ones they had from previous round, but they'll lose all those points. So if we pull this 2 here, then we're going to get to one that's a little bit harder. This is going to be what Stan Lee's catchphrase, and they're going to be excellent, Excalibur, exciting, or Excelsior. And they're going to have to look here, and you notice Excelsior. So if they answered D, Excelsior, they would get that one. And it gets harder, harder, all the way down to the bottom one here. It's going to be the hardest. Who was the first executive editor of DC Vertigo imprint? And you're going to be like A, John Whedon, B, Jim Shooter, C, Lee Falk, or D, Karen Berger. And then you're going to notice that it's going to be D. So that's basically it. You're going to be continuing on until all these tiles are taken, and the person with the most points at the end of that will win. Now, my suggestion, if you're only playing with an expansion, would be to only allow people to pull 1 tile at a time, especially if you have a decent player count, because there's not all that many tiles. But that's just my expansion, thing if you're just playing with just the one expansion and not with the base game. My thoughts on this. So my thoughts are this. If you have Hexaquest, the base game, and you want to have a comic category, this is a great expansion to get. I'm not sure about having these as standalone. These don't really have a lot, and normally when you're doing trivia, you're going to have different categories for your trivia, and I think this is best if you like the base game to pick up. And I really like this comic category, and it's going to be almost all the time in my base game when we play it, and you can mix and match them. So basically, if you like Hexaquest and you have the base game, or you just have a bunch of the expansions and you want to keep adding on, this is a great expansion to get. And that's my thoughts on it. Thank you for watching.